gold. Alright guys, back again with another video. This is the out of the box just overlook, looking at the specs, the build of the stuff. I haven't used anything yet. There will be a review video after I do use it, but I'm just very excited to get this set. This is a custom set I got for myself. This wasn't, a lot of times the reviews are on just stock off the shelf gear, but this is a custom set of Bauer Hyperlite 2 gear. Quick story of why I wanted to order this. I mean, one, I like the Bauer Hyperlite 1 line pretty well. As you know, I'm a Vaughn guy overall, but I did really like the Hyperlite 1 line. So I did want to try the Hyperlite 2. And then as far as going custom and doing the colors I did, if you watch my other videos and you see the other custom gear I've had, I've always gotten like Panthers colored custom gear because they're my favorite team. I live in South Florida, whatever. I just get Panther stuff. With this one, so I did a different colorway. It's the official colors from Bauer is Arizona Red and Antique Gold. And the story behind why I wanted to get a set like that is because, so many years ago, I played for FSU, Florida State University. I'm 41 now, so it's been like 20 years since I played. It's amazing how much time flies. I'm really old. But so I played for them, and we have a bunch of us guys that played for them. Not even just guys that I played with necessarily, but just anybody who has played for them. We have like an alumni organization and a team. We still play. We do our own little skates. We play against other alumni teams. And we have an alumni tournament coming up in March. And always in the back of my mind, I've wanted to do an FSU set. So I finally was just like, all right, let's do it with the Hyperlite 2. Got the tournament coming up. I want to get a sick FSU themed set. So the FSU colors are actually garnet and gold. So the gold is pretty accurate to their gold, but the Arizona Red is not exact. It's pretty close. They just don't have that exact garnet because that's just like no NHL teams really use that or whatever. Like I said, the closest is Arizona Red. Some companies call it like cranberry. It's just like a darker kind of wine red, but it's pretty close. And yeah, that's just kind of the story of why I ordered this colorway. Also, as you may know, I like very colorful gear. I like gaudy gear, and it doesn't get much gaudier than just like an almost all gold set. So yeah, that's kind of the story behind why I ordered the way I did. Mostly the customization on this was the color scheme. There's a few spec custom stuff I'll get into, but mostly it's stock Hyperlite 2 and with the custom colors. But let's just start talking about the gear. I'm going to start with what most people think of as the most boring part of the set probably, but what I think Bauer does the absolute best, and that is the blocker. So this is the Hyperlite 2 blocker. I've done many videos on Bauer stuff and the blocker specifically. So as you may know, I think Bauer makes the best blockers. Even their mock blocker I really like. But if I have to pick my favorite blocker altogether of any blocker out there, it is the Hyperlite. Well, the Hyperlite 1 was it. I haven't used this yet, but the Hyperlite line, let's put it that way, is my favorite. Why I like that is just how thin and sleek, it is. It's just light, streamlined, just feels great on my hand. I love how stiff it is, how the rebounds kick out. I love the very stiff sidewall. These are all reasons why I go with this blocker. Even with my last V9 set, I used a Hyperlite 1 blocker instead of the Vaughn V9 blocker because of how much I love that blocker. So this is a lot of the same from the Hyperlite 1, just from what I'm seeing. Very similar, just Nash palm. You got the elastic connection to the finger protection up here, which moves really well with your fingers. yeah, and then like I said, all the other things I liked about the Hyperlite 1 is still involved with this glove. One thing they said they did change is that they moved the palm position a centimeter lower. I don't know what 1 centimeter is really going to make a difference to anybody. Just like putting it on, and I held a stick with it, whatever. I didn't notice anything. But like the reason behind that is supposed to help, I don't know, like paddle down, picking up your stick off the ice. So I do a lot of paddle down stuff. So if anything, it's a good change for me. But I don't know that 1 centimeter is going to really do anything. I had no issues with the Hyperlite 1 blockers palm positioning. So I mean, we'll see. But I don't know. To me, it's like if you're going to move it, maybe move it a little more than 1 centimeter. But whatever. That's just something they said they did. And then the only other kind of big change and something that causing a little concern for me is this cuff here. You can see like it's pretty narrow, right? Like I don't know, when you look at other blockers, I feel like the cuff is more open, and even with the Hyperlite 1, it was not this narrow. It was more open. It was like a big flap piece, but it was just more open. This is more narrow, and the doesn't have a lot of length to this elastic here. Like it has some give, but the length of the elastic is not very long. And I don't know, I feel like the wrist flexion isn't great with it just off the bat trying it now. I mean, we'll see how it feels on the ice. The kind of good thing about it though is that worst case scenario, I can cut the elastic and it'll just have a lot more give because this won't be attached at all. I just am hesitant to do that, especially right off the bat without even trying it first. I would rather not have to cut something on a completely new piece of gear, but that's always the option there if I just feel like it's not working at all for me because of how tight this is. But I don't know why, I don't know why they would do that. It's a little questionable decision to me. Like why make your wrist of your blocker less mobile? I don't know. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing from this. It's like I said, a lot of the same things I like from the Hyperlite 1. And we'll see when I use it how it feels. Moving on to the next piece of gear I'm going to talk about is the glove. So this is the Hyperlite 2 glove. It's a 60-degree break, which is what I like. As I said, I had a Hyperlite 1 set, so I had the Hyperlite 1 glove, which was also 60-degree break. Sorry. So I did like the Hyperlite 1 glove, not as much as my Vaughn glove. I think Vaughn, at least for me, is my favorite glove, the Vaughn XP 60-degree. So it wasn't quite up to that level, but it was definitely a glove I could use, and I did like it. Just looking at this, again, kind of like with the blocker, it seems like a lot of the same stuff. Putting my hand in it and just playing around with it here, just opening and closing it, it feels very good. It feels very comfortable out of the box. It feels like I'm ready to use it in a game. I mean, it is a game-ready glove. That's what I got. And yeah, it's true to the name. Like, this feels really good out of the box. This might be the best feeling glove out of the box. Like, even more than my Vaughn, which, like I said, ultimately the Vaughn, once it breaks in, not that it takes a lot to, but once it breaks in, you really get used to it. It's just awesome. I love it. Feels like the most comfortable thing on my hand. But even that, like out of the box, didn't quite feel like this. Like this feels so good. This is probably the only glove I've ever had, like literally out of the box. I could take it out of the box on the ice and feel completely fine. No break-in needed, nothing. It's other than the colors, it's stock except for the finger stall like internals. So when I order my custom stuff, I always go through Whack at Pure Goalie. So shout out to Whack. I've talked about him before in other videos. I highly recommend going through Pure Goalie and Whack if you're doing custom. But he goes through all the specs with me, down the line to see what I want. And so that's one of the specs on this you could change is the finger liner. I went with the Mock Grip, it's called, liner. Now, I did a video where I reviewed a set of Mock gear. It was just a little mini review because I only used it for one skate. It was a buddy of mine down here had the set and he was letting me use it for a skate. So I just wanted to do like a little mini review and talk about it. The glove was the thing I really hated about that set. Mainly just the break and the shape of it I hated. So that kind of ruined the glove for me. So I honestly didn't even like notice what was going on with the internals or the liner of it. So it wasn't that like because of using that glove I ordered it. It was more just when talking to Whack, he suggested it as the superior finger material to use, just from the feedback he's been getting. Um, he said the stock Hyperlite 2 glove, some people were saying like when you sweat a lot in it, it gets a little slimy and your hand can kind of get slippery in there. But this mock liner just performed better, so I completely trust him. And I mean, I had no issue with the grip or my hands sliding with the mock glove. Like I said, it was just the way the glove is shaped and the break. So, I mean, I haven't used this again yet, obviously, but it feels, that grip material in there feels good. It's I can't show it to you because even if I open up the backhand of the glove, you can't see into the finger stall area. But this is just like the backhand open. But like even if I open this, you can't, like, you just see my knuckles, so you can't see into the finger thing. Even if I take my hand out of the glove. But I'm trying to describe to you what I feel, or what it feels like. It's like it feels like a smooth, cool, almost, not plastic is not the right word probably, but it's not like a nashy material. Okay, let's put it that way. It's more like a synthetic material, whatever. But it feels good. It's a good feeling on your hand. So we'll see how it holds up as far as like during play and when I'm getting sweaty and that kind of stuff. But like I said, that was just the recommendation from Wax, so I went with that. But other than that, it's a stock Hyperlite 2 glove. So, I mean, there's just a couple various, nothing crazy. I mean, overall, it's pretty similar to what you'd find in most gloves. You know, a couple, like a wrist strap, some straps over the back of the palm, and then all the backhand protection closes. Yeah, nothing, they're not reinventing the wheel with that. But yeah, the glove just feels really good. Like I said, closure and everything, just, I'm loving it. So I'm very excited to use the glove because, like I said, I did like the Hyperlite 1, and this feels even better than the Hyperlite 1. This actually might even rival my Vaughn just from, you know, I still got to get it out in the ice, but man, out of the box, this is the best feeling glove I've ever had. So that's the blocker and the glove. Let's move on to the leg pads. Just trying to start with, just kind of turn the pad around and give you a full look at it. So, again, with my Hyperlite 1 set, I did like the leg pads. Ultimately, not better than what Vaughn can do for me when I go custom with Vaughn and with a custom build with Vaughn. But it's one of the few pads that if I had to use something else besides Vaughn, I said I could use was the Hyperlite 1. And then when I saw some of the things they were doing with the Hyperlite 2, like, it's still mostly the same, you know, the spirit of the pad is the same, but like, they thinned it out even more. This pad is ridiculously light and thin. And especially the boot. The boot is, this is probably the thinnest boot I've ever had. And it's very flexible. Again, out of the box, haven't even used this. These are not broken in at all. But like, I would say this is rival, oh boy. This rivals my Vaughn V10 boot. And that's one of the things I like about why I use the Vaughn. And you know, I've also discovered the more I'm using some of these newer, stiffer pads, yes, the overall construction of the pad matters to me. And I do prefer an overall more flexible pad. This has pretty good flex to it. But even more, I feel like I've discovered that the boot makes probably the most difference to me. Because I can still use a very stiff pad if the boot is nice and soft. And it'll give me that good, you know, bend, like when you're in a deep crouch or doing like post-play kind of stuff. So I've really come to appreciate how much the boot matters to me and how much it makes a difference with the feel, how a pad feels on your leg. And then beyond that, yes, the pad, I do like somewhat of a curve to it. I prefer it to be, you know, somewhat flexible. Although, and I talked about this with other pads and I think with the Hyperlite 1, like, yes, this has flex, but what is ever going to cause it to flex? Because there's no strap up here. Unless you're leaning on it, like in a resting position and pushing it down, it's really not going to flex. So it's still going to act very much like a stiff pad. It just has that flex as like a just in case, I don't know, scenario where you need the flex, something is pushing and it won't like just not give and jam into you or something, I guess. But yeah, so like with my Vaughns, I have a top strap, and there actually is more of a reason to it with my Vaughns for them to be as flexible as they are, because the top strap pulls that in the butterfly and helps keep everything nice and neat and sealed in the butterfly. With this, the fact that it's more flexible than like the mock, let's say, doesn't really come into play for the most part, because like I said, there's nothing that's going to cause it to flex. However, I do like the shape of it more, because it has more of a curved shape than the mock, which is more straight. And also it's a little more thinned out than the mock as well. This is the outer part of it. Like with the other stuff, it's pretty much stock Hyperlite 2. The only couple changes I made to the build is this knee landing. The stock Hyperlite 2 comes with like a grip material in here. I decided to not go with that because on the mock it didn't have it, and when I was talking to Wack, going over all the specs, you know, he asked me if I had an issue with like my knee slipping on the knee stack or anything like that. I told him no, I was completely fine. Like even using the mock, I was completely fine. He suggested that maybe you should just go with the regular material and not the grip material. Not that the grip material is necessarily bad, but if you're not having a problem with your knee staying on there, you probably don't need it. And if anything, it could cause a problem where it's gripping too much and it's like pulling your knee pad or something to the side more. So he suggested that if I wasn't having any issues with that, which I've never had with any pad, to be honest, just go with the regular material and not the grip material. So that is a change. This is not the stock inside knee wing material. Doesn't have the grippy stuff. That, and the only other very minor change is this toe bridge. This is the Supreme toe bridge. And the only reason I went with that is just because it's a little more robust and it seems like it's a little more secured than the Hyperlite one, which the Hyperlite one is just more of a smaller tab. And I had the stock Hyperlite toe bridge with the Hyperlite 1 pad I had, and while it never broke while I had it, I mean, I didn't have those pads for that long, but it was something that just looking at it and how, you know, it was meant to be very small and streamlined and whatever. But I just, in the back of my mind, I was thinking like, I don't know, this seems like it could tear easily or come out. Like it didn't inspire a lot of confidence. Like I said, I didn't end up having a problem with it, but given the choice, and again, this was just out of the many specs I went over when ordering this came up and I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and get the Supreme line of toe bridge for this because it's just a little more secure. It's a little more what I'm used to with other pads. So yeah, that's really the only, like, those two things were the only construction difference I went with these pads. Let's open this up and kind of just take a look inside here. So you got a pretty nice open leg channel here. This is the stock Tune Fit 2.0 strap that comes with the Hyperlite, but that is an option when you're going custom. You could change it out to the mock one. Something I hated when I used the mock, their strap, it's just that it felt more like a brace and a little more restricting and encompasses your calf more, whereas this strap is just more open because it's literally just like two elastic straps here with nothing else. The mock one has more of a whole like built-in brace thing is the best way I can say it. If you go watch my mock video, you'll see it. But yeah, I prefer like less going on in the calf area, so I went with the stock Tune Fit Strap 2.0. But it's something that I know comes up a lot when I hear people talk about either the mock or the Hyperlite 2, whatever, is they'll mix and match these, they'll switch it out for the other one, whatever. So that's something that you can do, and you can do it after the fact. It doesn't have to be done when you order it. So if you get whatever one and then you say you don't like it, you can always switch it back out for the other one. But that just attaches across the calf. And then you have a lower piece down here that goes on the lower part of the calf area, and then the knee strap this does come with a knee wing. I've already taken it off because I don't use it. I strap down to the calf, and that straps in there. It's very simple. This pad will go on and off your leg in no time. It does not come with a professor strap. The Hyperlite 1 came with a professor strap, a removable one, which when I had first gotten the Hyperlite 1 pad, I tried it for the first like 1 or 2 skates, and I just really didn't like it. It's weird because normally I do like a professor strap. Just for whatever reason on that pad, it wasn't working for me. So I have no issue that this did not come with a professor strap. I feel like the fact that this Tune Fit thing has like 2 straps going, it's almost like this top part almost acts like a professor strap anyway. So yeah, I'm good with the way the strapping is. So I kept it stock. Going down to the boot, I do still prefer having a boot strap. So I got that as a custom option. I believe if you just get like an off-the-shelf one, it doesn't even come with a boot strap anymore. So I got this custom added to it, but it's also removable. So, you know, if you're not sure and you're going custom, maybe order one because you can always take it off. It's not a big deal to remove at all. If you know you don't like it, then hey, whatever. That's just the stock that it doesn't come with one. I still prefer it. I do like that it's elastic too and has some give to it. And then the toe ties, these are not the stock ones. As I've mentioned many times with other pads, I always put the Kova toe tie system on my stuff. So I already put the Kova one on there. What it comes with is their like bungee toe tie system is literally just, it's like very cheap looking. It's literally just a bungee cord and like a leather Gen Pro tab at the end. Like you could probably make it at home yourself. If you go to Home Depot and buy some bungee cord and I don't know, leather, whatever, some kind of Velcro, you can make it yourself probably. It's I just don't, you know, I've tried it before, and I mean, like I say, the Kova one is my favorite overall anyway, but even with that being said, like I've tried other ones that aren't bad. Like I do like the true bungee toe ties are pretty good, but like the Bauer ones I think are pretty crappy. I don't care for them at all. I wouldn't use them, so I already took them off, put these on. If you go custom though, there's different options. You could just get skate lace, you get the bungee, a couple different options you can get with, but I really love the Kova toe tie. I highly recommend them. The calf landing out here is a little different than the Hyperlite 1. The Hyperlite 1 had more of a flat calf here. This, you can kind of see that, you can see it's like angled a little bit, like there's a piece that angles back up this way. So what that is kind of trying to do is like there's less of it on the ice. So theoretically, less surface area on touching the ice, less friction, you're going to slide better. The mock pad had a similar kind of angled landing thing like this here. Had no issues with it. Some people maybe prefer just a complete flat piece here that they might think it's more stabilizing for them or whatever. I think that is something you can change going custom. I didn't feel the need to, so I didn't even look into it, whatever. I was just fine with this. But I want to say off the top of my head, you can get the old calf on this. Don't hold me to it, but off the top of my head, I think that was an option. But just to show this is how it comes stock with this, and I've had no issues with this type of a landing. I haven't used this one specifically, but we'll see. The other thing too is this does still have a calf pillow. Very small. Seems like it does almost nothing. But they're still putting calf pillows in theirs. Other companies have kind of gone away from the calf pillow. It was en vogue for a little bit there. I don't know. To me, it was never a huge deal. But if that's something that interests you, yes, it does have a calf pillow on these. We're still seeing the same sort of knee integration into the pad like we did with the Hyperlite 1. And somewhat similar to what the Mach has, but the Mach is different. So this is the Stabila Flex, meaning that, yes, it goes into the pad, but there is a little bit of give to it. Whereas on the Mach, it's called the Stabila Slide, and it's similar, but it's even more rigid. It doesn't have as much give. I wouldn't say it's a huge difference. But yeah, I'm fine with this one. I just went with the stock Stabila Flex version. Like I said, that was on the Hyperlite 1 pad I had, and I liked it. So, you know, but like I said, I used the Mach. It's fine. One over the other really didn't make a huge difference to me. So, just kept it stock how it is. This knee strap is attached only by a Velcro Velcro loop here that goes through a piece of Gen Pro here. When I did my overview of the Hyperlite one set I had, I mentioned that I wasn't crazy about this system just because if this Gen Pro tears or something, you're kind of screwed because that's the only thing holding this in. And then you'd have to get it repaired or whatever. Much like how I was saying I was concerned with the toe ties or the toe bridge thing on the Hyperlite one, it never ended up being an issue for me for the time I had the pads. And I can't think off the top of my head of ever hearing that somebody had the issue of this Gen Pro tearing, but it's just something that there are, I don't know, I feel like there's better ways to do this, but this is just the way Bauer decided to do it. So we'll see. I do feel like the Gen Pro is a little thicker than I remember it being on the Hyperlite 1. So that's, I guess, a little better. But yeah, just overall, I would have preferred more of a traditional type of attachment point where even if it's just Velcro or whatever, but at least Velcro, you can just take it on and off, whatever, or get a new strap. It's just, just kind of concerning that if this Gen Pro tears, what do? I mean, I guess you probably might be able to get it repaired, but like then you got to send it off or do, it's not like an easy fix. Let's put it that way. So this was never a design I really cared for in the Hyperlite 1, and they still have it on the Hyperlite 2, but it is what it is. And like I said, it didn't end up being an issue, at least for me, for the Hyperlite 1. So we'll see as I use this. Yeah. I guess that's pretty much it as far as, going over what the build of these are and everything. Yeah, so that's going to be basically this video. Like I said, I'm definitely going to do a review after using this. I'm just really liking what I see out of the box from this stuff. Could be a different story when I got on the ice, but I mean, even the pads, like I said, they're thinner, they feel lighter. The boot is just even better than I remember the Hyperlite 1 being, as far as I like a flat angled boot. I don't like a steep boot. It's nice and thin. It's flexible. I have really high hopes for this set. I think this could be the set that, if not overtakes my Vons, is like just about as good, to the point that like I'll be rotating or using both of them pretty evenly. You know what I mean? Like I've never had a secondary set that I felt comfortable enough that I was using like even on an even rotation basis with my Vons. The Vons have always been like the set I use the most, and then if I have a secondary set, I'll work them in for pickup or whatever, especially if I'm doing a review video. But like for games, when I'm playing an actual game or whatever, it's almost always been the Vons. I would very rarely feel comfortable enough with other stuff that I would use it in a game situation. I'm really impressed out of the box with all this stuff, even more so than the Hyperlite ones, which I was impressed with as well. But man, I can't wait to get this on the ice. Can't wait to do that review video for you guys. So stay tuned for that. But for now, that's all for this video, and see you in the next one.